So first of all, can you tell me your name and when and where were you born?
My name is Tafazzal Hussain. I was born in Sylhet at the time of East Pakistan. Now it's called Bangladesh.
And what year was that?
I was born in 1956.
And can you describe the place where you were born?
Yes, a place called Govindaganj, part of a small area in Sylhet.
And can you tell me about your family life growing up there?
Well, I came to UK very early age. I only was able to tell you up to about 11-year-old.
Right.
I remember even first day when I went to school in Bangladesh, because first day I didn't know what to do, so all of my friends was copying the others, so I did the same, and the teacher knew I was copying, so teacher said, okay, very nice, but you write it yourself. I didn't understand what he meant by that.
What subjects did you study at school?
It was a religious school called Madrasa. I studied there for 4 years.
And what subjects?
Religious studies, you have various subjects. You have English, you have Islamic history, Arabic, as well as Bangla as well.
What did you enjoy at school?
I enjoy gossiping with friends, and I like reading history, and I enjoyed that as well.
And can you tell me about your parents?
Yes, my parents used to be a farmer, but we did have a shop at that time to earn our living. When I grew up slowly, I tried to take over that little shop we had back home. Even though it's early age, now I realize my father was trying to train me to become a businessman. And it did help me, in fact, because I have learned how to deal with the customers and how to serve them, and it helped me in this country.
So you were working in the shop before you were 11?
I was, when I finished my madrasa, I used to help my father in the shop.
And how old were you then?
Well, I think the shop I started going is about 8, 9, 10.
What about your siblings?
Siblings, well, my siblings, I got married in 1976. Even though I came in the UK in 1967, I went back home in 1972 after our independence. I stayed there for 6 months and came back. Then went back in 1976, got married.
What about brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do have 6 brothers, 2 sisters. Yeah.
Hey, can you tell me about them growing up? What your relationships were with your
Well,
brothers?
we were always a close-knit relationship with the family. My brother, immediate older brother, went to schools, not Islamic schools, the other schools. So he has been working in a bank till his death. He is now deceased, however, but he worked there over 40 years in one bank. You know, that was pretty good.
Was that in Bangladesh?
It was in Bangladesh.
And so did the family's income come from the shop?
Not only shop, because we had some lands. My grandparent left some land, as well as my father acquired some. It wasn't sufficient. Normally, what you expect in a village life, that you grow your own food, you manage to have your own rice paddy fields, and you don't need to buy very much. So we are about to self-sufficient. Maybe we have to buy for 1 month. So that shop helped buy for that 1 month. You know.
What did you grow?
Mainly it's the rice And the rice also is seasonal. You can only cultivate rice maybe twice in a year. Then sometime you can grow vegetable if it's in the season, and that also helps.
Did you have animals?
Yes, you must have animals at that time because to cultivate you need animals, you need cows. Nowadays it's a machine, but at that time it used to be cultivated by cows. I remember every 2 cows with one person cultivating, so sometimes 2 cows, sometimes 4, sometimes 6, depending how big the lands are.
What did you eat growing up?
What did I eat?
So,
Well, obviously our main food is the fish and rice. We do have a small pond type of thing. We grew, or I mean, we put the fish in there as well. Plus, it's easy to fish everywhere else as well, because there's lots of fish in Bangladesh.
so did you fish yourself?
Well, I did, but because I was very young, I didn't have very much to fish with. But I did. I enjoyed fishing with fishing gear.
What did you use to fish?
You can use various. You can use worm. You can use rice. You can use other things as well. But in this country, you don't need that sort of thing, fly fishing and all this.
So you moved to the UK when you were 11?
11 and a half precisely.
Right. And how did you get here?
Well, at that time of East Pakistan and West Pakistan, people used to fly from West Pakistan. So I went to West Pakistan, and from there I flew to Gatwick, and from there I came here.
And who did you come with?
I personally speaking, I came on my own at that time because there's supposed to be a group of us coming, but they came before me, so they left me there for maybe a week. So I came a week after.
And where did you go once you arrived?
Right, well, I had some relatives here when I came here, so they picked me up from the Gatwick.
And who were your relatives who lived here?
My relatives no longer existed; they were all deceased. The member of my extended family,
Uncles?
uncles and cousins and things like that.
Right. And what were they doing here?
Well, they came prior me coming in here, and they were working in a restaurant
Whereabouts?
in Cardiff, in Swansea, because I grew up in Swansea.
Right. So you moved to Cardiff?
I went straight to Swansea.
Swansea.
Then eventually I moved to Cardiff.
What were your first impressions of the UK?
Well, to be honest, I quite liked it. I quite liked it. It's a change. It wasn't like cultivating lands back home. It was different.
How did you adjust to the climate?
I came in the summertime, so it was pretty good. And at that time, there wasn't many young people from the BME community came to Swansea in my age. So there were only few of us, about 3 of us. And to be honest, everybody liked us. We never heard of racism.
Did you go to school?
I did go to school, yes. Swansea.
Can you tell me about the school you went to?
I went to, I can't remember the name of the school, but I went to Swansea High School. Eventually, I thought I should learn typing because there wasn't a computer at that time. I was looking at ladies especially looking one way and typing the other way. I thought that's impressive. So I went to one of the college. I said, look, I want to learn typing. They said, you can't learn only typing, you got to take a full course of secretarial course. I said, okay, I'll take the course. So I took the course in 1978, and in fact I passed it, yeah.
What else did you study at school?
I studied other things as you study in schools, history, geography, maths, English, all those sort of things. But at that time, I think you have to leave school at 14 or 15. So it's not like now 16, even more if you want to study or if you want to go to university, you can always extend and study there to go to university directly. But it wasn't like that before. You had the right to leave school at 14 or at 15.
So you left school at
I left school at 15, but went back again in later years because I thought, oh, I haven't got anything. People have these certificates and that certificate. I thought I'd go and learn more.
what did you do once you left school at 15?
I left school, I started working in a restaurant. And I didn't involve with the community until I came to Sunderland in 1990. That's why I started getting involved with the community and started going to the university as well as college, as well as learning, getting all these certificates. Whatever something comes in, I take a part. I quite enjoyed that.
How did life in Swansea compare with life in Bangladesh?
Swansea, I enjoyed it because I never heard of racism and everybody seems to like you because there isn't any many BME community there. Not many, especially at my age. All my friends used to be English, so used to go out in the evenings, you know.
Where did you go?
Well, I went to disco for under 18s because we was under 18 and we were not allowed to go to the disco at the drinks. So there were also lots of soft drinks in a disco. So loads of us used to go together, about 25, 30 of us together.
Was it easy to mix with?
Yeah, it was very easy because they like it, because they don't see many ethnic minority community people at my age, you know, in my age. And I like them as well, so we mixed together. So after work, yeah, we used to get together.
And the other Bangladeshi children who were your friends? Can you tell me
There
about them?
wasn't many at that time. There were about 3 of us or 4 of us altogether,
Right.
apart from the elders.
Do you remember who they were?
Yeah, I still know, I remember most of them, but I still have one friend who is in Newcastle.
Okay. Yeah. What's his name?
His name is Dorosmia.
Right.
Even we did a business together as well. Yeah, I remember a lot of things. Going together, going to the horse riding schools in the weekends. You can't forget that. Wherever I used to go to riding horses, I used to tell the man there, can you give me a slow one, please? Because I was a bit scared about the first one.
So how long did you live in Swansea?
I lived there for about 3-4 years. Then I moved to Cardiff because one of my great grandfather, they used to have a restaurant in Cardiff, who died in Cardiff as well, and some of my cousins died in Cardiff. So I bought a house in Cardiff and lived there.
And how long did you live in Cardiff?
A number of years. I moved to Newport but came back to Cardiff again and lived there, and that's how I did.
And when did you get married?
I got married in 1976.
And did you go back to Bangladesh?
Yes, I always wanted to get married to Bangladeshi women because I came very young and I don't have much knowledge about our country. And if I get married with the Bangladeshi woman, at least she'll keep me in a good track. That's what I thought.
So when you went back to Bangladesh, how had Bangladesh changed?
Yes, it changed over the years. It's changed a lot over the years. I find it public are quite richer, some of the public. You'll find the poorer as well, but they'll never complain.
You think when you went back in 1976, life had improved?
It was improving. It wasn't fully improved, but improving. If I call it now, it was improved because at that time we never had electricity. We never had a gas. Now we have a gas, we have electricity, we have universities, we have everything what you need. We never had computers, now we have computers. You know, that's part of everyday life nowadays.
So when did you move to Sunderland?
Once I came in 1982 from London. I stayed here for 2 years. I came to see if I could establish a business like a takeaway restaurant. It didn't work, so I went back again to London again. Then I came back in 1990 again and stayed here.
So after Cardiff, did you move to London?
After Cardiff, I went to Newport. Newport, it used to be a Gwent Constabulary, it used to call the area. So I was there a number of years.
And then to London?
Then to London.
And what did you do in London?
In London, I used to work in a restaurant. Sometimes I used to do minicabbing. And sometimes I used to work in community center like these for a short period.
And did your wife come with you?
Yes, my wife came. Always my wife with me.
Right. And did you have children?
I had one child while I was in Swansea. I didn't mention that after leaving Swansea, I went back again in Swansea in one stage in 1978.
Right.
I stayed there for a little while. That's where my first son born. And from there I moved.
And so you moved from London to
London to Sunderland to do a business.
Right. That was the reason you came?
That's the reason I came, because in London you need huge amount of money to do something, and in the north you can do it with slightly less investment. You know.
Did you know people in Sunderland?
Yes, I knew people, because when I was in 1982, I met a number of people here and I get to know them, because Sunderland, it's a close-knit community. You see them every day, you meet them every day, you meet them.
Who do you remember when you first came to Sunderland?
I remember people like our chairperson, Mr. Khaled Mir, and the others as well.
What were your first impressions of Sunderland?
I wasn't looking about the impression, I was looking about the business, how I'm going to make some money.
Right.
And it was okay at that time. I opened my first Indian takeaway in Houghtonleigh Spring. Then I moved around. I done about 14 takeaways in total in my lifetime. I never kept them all, a short period, and then sell them and move on.
So how long did you live in Sunderland the first time you came?
First time I lived for 2 years.
2 years. So that was 1982.
1982, then went back to London.
In 1984.
No, 1984, yes.
And what did you do once you went back to London?
Well, I went back to London because with my wife we decided that if she could do some sewing work, which is tailoring work, that she could earn a bit extra money along with me earning some. So that's what the decision, but she never got to do that, because gradually the tailoring business in London became down, so I worked myself only.
How long did you live in London?
I lived there for till 90. I came in 90 in Sunderland.
Did you like living in London?
I like living in London, but there is no future in London, because you got to have business or some sort of income to survive. You can't survive with only what you earn in a restaurant and takeaways, you know.
What do you remember about life in London?
I remember so many things. I remember working in a restaurant. I remember the people. Because I was everything to do with the restaurant business, I knew about the restaurants. Everybody liked me.
And then you moved to Sunderland in
I moved to Sunderland in 1990 permanently.
And what did you do when you came in 1990?
I came, started my first business along with some colleagues. And gradually I started mixing with the community.
What was your first business?
It was a takeaway in Houghtonleigh Spring.
And what was the takeaway called?
It's called Tandoori Night.
So, what was it like coming back to Sunderland?
Well, I wasn't looking how it's looked like. I was looking how could make some money to survive. So Tandoori Nights,
that was your business. How long
That
did you
was first business. I stayed there for about 10 years, along with the colleagues, of course. Then I moved on. Almost are the takeaways in most towns in the northeast.
And when did you start working in community work?
I started, as soon as I came in Sunderland in 1990, I got involved with the communities. And that's eventually I got involved with this Sunderland Bangladeshi Center at 1998.
Can you tell me about the people you met once you moved back in 1990?
Yes, I used to go to the mosque. You meet the people, ask about how they're doing, how their life is, what are they doing, are they opening any more restaurant or takeaways and things like that. And then sometimes we used to go playing footballs together.
Right. What about other activities?
Activities we didn't do very much to start with, because to do activities you need somewhere to sit down and decide and make a plan. So only thing we had was the restaurants and takeaways. So that's why we used to meet after working. So from there in 1998, we discovered the city council is giving a room to use in Hudson Road School. So we all, the community, got together and formed a group, and we got involved the city council as well as police, fire brigade and all these, and working for 2 years initially, and asked them to give us one of the car park here. As you can see, there was 2 car parks, so we said we'll have one of them here. So they gave us this car park with a peppercorn rent, and from there we built this lovely place where we're sitting down today.
What about people outside of the Bangladeshi community? Did you meet people?
Yes, I did meet people, lovely people, you know. You might get one bad bananas, it doesn't mean everybody is bad. You know, that's why I'm living here.
Can you tell me about some of the people you met?
I met a number of people I still remember. One day I went to deliver one of the food in Pensha. The girl inside called me, "Hello, I know you." I said, "How do you know me?" He said, "Come on in." So she called me in. She said, "Can you remember I used to come with my mom to your takeaways? Now I'm married." So this sort of thing you remember, you know. It's lovely to somebody to remember. Because I remember that girl, she came in, she was very young, and I took her hand, I said, "Look, come and have a look at our kitchen." And they remember that thing. And I do it with the heart. It's not just for show. If I like somebody, I like somebody, and that's it.
How did you preserve Bangladeshi culture and traditions in Sunderland?
Nowadays, we have a place so we can preserve things. But you need to improve, always need to improve. For example, this heritage history thing, this is one of the preservation hopefully we're going to make. And our coming generation will see how we came here and what we did. And maybe they move to next phase, what they can do in future.
What were the main challenges you faced?
Challenge, yes, we did face a challenge of when we opened this community center. We found a challenge of some community, they don't want us to open this community center. And some of them were supporting us. The challenge was, how do we raise the funds to build it? Because we were a consortium group of people with highly skilled, not me of course, but people from the university as well as police and all these, we managed to acquire funding and opened it in year 2000.
Before the center opened, what do you think the Bangladeshi community?
Yes, it was, we were isolated, to be honest with you, because there wasn't many places where we could go. Nowadays, at least we could come here and say, yeah, I'm having this problem. One of the problem, one of the family had a while back, I remember, that was a challenge. I remember the bank went to one of the house to repossess the house, and there were estate agent, there were people from bank, and there were locksmith as well to get in there. But inside there's a family with the children, young children as well. So I went there personally. I persuaded those banks and the buildings had everybody down there, and we managed to keep the house for them. And that was, how could I say, I was very pleased on that. And the family will remember that they didn't have to leave the house.
When was that?
A few years back, that is, when was England was in credit crunch. Now it's getting better.
What do you think the Bangladeshi community has contributed to Sunderland?
Not only Sunderland, you talk about England. The restaurant community, they contributed 4.5 billion in taxes. So that's a lot of money. Even though they are having a hardship getting qualified staff, but still they're doing well.
And what are your hopes for the future?
Future, I hope it goes well, but nowadays youngsters tend not to go in a restaurant industry. They rather go different ways, like some they want to be a doctor, some want to be an engineer, some want to be a computer expert, some of them became solicitors. The number of young solicitors here, even though we have one here as well.
Do you think that's a positive?
I think it's a positive, however. Restaurant industry, if the government support us, they can get the people from the outside the UK, trained staff. So they will get better services by the public as well at the same time.
How do you think things could be changed for the better in Sunderland?
I think we all should work together. The council and the community and whoever it is. We should always work together to get a good solution out of it. It works better working together.
Do you think there are still challenges there?
There is still challenge and a gap there. I think as a center, as a representative of the community here, we should try and tackle this sort of thing along with the community.
Can you tell me what you think some of the challenges we still face are?
Well, I shouldn't be saying things like that, but might as well. We do still have some racism there. That needs to be tackled. As I said earlier, that you have one bad banana and makes place worse. It doesn't mean everybody is bad. So we should work together, give them more awareness. You hear about the Islamophobia, they look at your face, they will think as a stereotype is different. But I'm no different than anybody else. You go to the hospitals, you will find loads of Indian doctors, and if they are outside, if they got a beard, maybe something to do with the terrorism. They're not. The people with the beard, they're the best people you can find. Yeah, as I said, odd ones, that's different. We'll never support that sort of thing.
Can you tell me about how racism, how you've experienced racism?
Well, you go to town, because I am from a BME community, they will look at you. They will look at you different way than the other people. And that's, you can see, racism is there. Maybe some people, they don't have a job. Maybe I got a job. I got a better car, better house. He hasn't got a job. Maybe he's living somewhere rented. Maybe I got my own house. Sometimes it works like that. I mean, they look at it different ways, but they don't realize that sometimes I work 60 hours a week. I'm not working at the moment, but however, when I was working, I do work 60 hours a week. And officially in this country, you work 35 hours a week. But why not you work, if there is money to be made, why not you work with more hours? Well, you can. And there will be a stage you can't. So that's the time you can take it easy. So that sort of thing, we need to make more awareness of our culture and tackle those misunderstanding, misconcept people have. There are some great people we see in our center, the good as gold.
What would you tell someone who didn't know about Bangladeshi culture?
I would ask him, you are welcome to come and visit us, see us, have a coffee, have a chat with us. They come to know about me. Then you decide how I am.
And what would you say are some of the main things people should know about Bangladeshi culture?
In any culture, you should know everything about way of life. When you talk about Islam, religion, Islam is a way of life. It's not only a religion, it's a way of life. You do everything according to Islamic way, and that's what it is.
Do you think things are improving in Sunderland?
Yes, it's progressing, but we need to do more work on it.
And finally, can you tell me about 1971 and what you thought about the...
Yes, in 1971, roughly I was about 15, 16-year-old, roughly. I used to work in one restaurant. We hear Pakistan government at that time wanted to speak Urdu everywhere in East and West Pakistan, even though East Pakistan is purely Bengali speaking and the West is Urdu speaking. So some people fought in Bangladesh. They said, no, in our country, East Pakistan, we wanted Bangla. That's where it started all these. Then eventually in 1971, they were started. So we supported by giving a chunk of my earnings from my wages at that time towards the freedom fighters. In every towns and cities, they used to have a steering committee. They get together, collect the money, donations, send to help free our country. And I can gladly say that some part of my money went there.
How did you feel when Bangladesh got independence?
I feel very happy because at least you got a map in the world saying, yeah, this is my country. Even though I'm a British citizen, but that's where I was born. My great-grandfather, they were all born there.
Do you think things have improved in Bangladesh?
It's improved a lot, improving a lot as well. But still a lot need to do. There is a lot of infrastructure needs to be sorted. And I think public, they are doing their best. When the people went abroad, earned money, they invested back in Bangladesh. And that's where it helps. And the government should do more to tackle the issue of unemployment and the infrastructure as well.